Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing you 3 different lower extremity mobility exercises, stretches, movements. These exercises, movements, stretches are on the advanced side, I would say. There's not really any scalable options in terms of the positions that these can be done. They all basically are in a kneeling position. So it can be done in a on a bed, on a couch, on the floor with like what I have, a towel or a yoga mat, some type of cushioning, pillows to support the knee. But regardless, it may be pretty difficult for someone who isn't able to support themselves in some manner in single knee or both knees on the floor. So I'm just gonna get right into it. So the first movement, I would call this a movement, is, I guess you could call it like Spider-Man walkouts. So you're gonna start with both knees on the floor. I'll show you a sideways view. So you're gonna start with both knees on the floor, and this is gonna be mainly for hip mobility and movement. It's a good stretch, but mainly to get fluidity through movement, strength through movement. So with the two knees, basically you want to have your hips over your knees, and then to be at as close as you can be to a 90-degree angle. I guess this is a scalable version, or the scale that you can bring to your patients. Patients with less hip mobility aren't going to be able to get as low as, say, 90 degrees from their legs to their hips to their upper body or to their core. But the movement is alternative legs, and it's a step. So you step forward and you basically get your, I'll do it on this side. You get your leg to come and be parallel with your arm. And then you can see here, I have my ankle directly over my knee. And then now this is creating a 90-degree angle. So this is the scale that you kind of want to get your patients to. Obviously, some patients aren't going to be able to do that. This may be also pretty difficult for patients to do if they have something to hold on to. Hold on to the couch in front of you, maybe a broom that they can hold on to in front of them. But then this would be the easiest option, holding on to something, obviously. As this is a movement, I don't really like to, and I feel about this with the other two, I don't feel like it's the best option to have this be reps and sets. I think more of time and sets. So realistically, something like this can be done perfectly in like 30 seconds. And the reason being is you can have them take it as slow as possible, or if they're trying to figure their movements out, they're able to do that without worrying about getting to a certain number. But yeah, 30 seconds, 4 times, 3 times is perfect. And make sure you just focus on them keeping themselves as stable as possible and really creating the movements through their hips. That's the main key here. The second exercise is in this position, or it's not an exercise. This is definitely more of a stretch. It's in this position, and the keys are, having the knee over the hip. This leg isn't too much of a working manner. It's more of a focus on this hip and the stretch we get in this hip. But the stretch itself is one knee, hand over head, reach. And so all this is really going to do is create that stretch within the hip, within the hamstrings. And also you're going to have to create some stability within the core to make sure that the patient can make sure that they're stable and able to keep themselves upright. So again, they can hold on to something with one hand like preferably, but realistically it is an overhand stretch, and you want to bring that hand right over the head, and almost not in terms of you're not turning yourself, but you can say that they can reach for the ceiling on the like opposite corner of the opposite corner ceiling. But same thing with the other one. I would do maybe like a 20 seconds on one side, and just movement there again. And if they're really feeling stuff, they can have a hold. You can hold it in that reach position. You can feel it here, and I'm blanking on that one, but regardless. And then you can switch knees, and then 20 seconds on this side, and the same thing. Basically, you can have them, feel themselves out, feel their hip out, feel the stretch, and then bring it and reach it, and then back. So just to reiterate, like a 4 sets or 3 sets of 20 seconds per side, I think is perfect. And the last movement is going to be for ankle mobility, and it's also going to be in this position. So hopefully, once they have developed the stability through the Spider-Man knee raises, I think is what we could call them, to then the movement, or to this to the action of really getting good strengthening through stretch positions of the hip and the hamstrings and the overhead reach. We then bring it all together, and in this same position, we're gonna mobilize the ankle, and how we would do that is make sure that the ankle stays on the floor, foot stays on the floor at all times, and you tell them to lean forward, bring the knee forward, and the ankle the heel has to stay on the floor. And so in this position, I get mobility through the dorsiflex position. And so you can go forwards, heel on the floor, as far as they can go. And you also get some stretching in the Achilles tendon. And then you can go to the left. This is going to be a bit harder when you go to the sides. And then you can go to the right. And then since obviously this is going to be on one leg, then the other, I would do 20 to 30 seconds as the last movement. 20 to 30 seconds on one leg, and then 20 to 30 seconds on the other leg for about 3 to 4 sets, however your patient's feeling. Obviously, having a knee on the floor isn't going to be the most comfortable, depending on whatever setup they're able to equip themselves. But those are 3 great mobility exercise movements, stretches that can be implemented really in any routine, as it focuses on a lot of just strengthening through stretching, through lengthening, and creating that sense of mobility, and very important in the 3 basically major articulations of the ankle and the knee and the hip. So thank you so much. I appreciate you watching.